This is Liz Hyman. I'm the president and CEO of the XR Association, and I am thrilled to be hosting a conversation with some really terrific people about XR and social impact. This falls under our Limitless Voices campaign, if you will, really highlighting the ways in which XR can be used for incredible and positive purposes, advancing societal aims and goals. But also how we bring in a diverse set of voices to make that happen. And so I am thrilled today to have two individuals. First, I've got Sarah Porter, who is with an amazing organization called Hope for Haiti. Sarah brings a really rich background in public service, including, I believe, a stint in the Peace Corps. And today, Sarah is Director of Innovative Philanthropy at Hope for Haiti. And I first met Sarah at a reception at the Augmented World Expo. And my first thought was, what's Hope for Haiti doing at AWE? And so I hope today we'll be able to fill in the answer to that question. We're also joined by Mark Lambert with Lighthouse XR. And look, the dry version of Mark's illustrious career is that for over 30 years, he's been in the world of computer graphics and video production. But the more vibrant version of this resume is that Mark is the genius behind things like creating the first Quidditch field in Harry Potter, the visual design of Polar Express, and the talking wolves and foxes in the first Narnia movie. So now he's brought that skill and imagination to XR, and in particular has started two new companies, VRtisans and Lighthouse XR. And from Lighthouse, he's been doing some truly, truly important work regarding social impact. So thrilled to have you both. And I thought we would just jump into the conversation, and then that will allow you to tell you a little bit more about who you are and the organizations that you're doing and doing amazing work with. So Sarah, I'm going to start with you. Could you tell us a little bit more about Hope for Haiti and how you're using XR to support social entrepreneurship and education through XR to address the on-the-ground challenges that we all have tragically heard so much about when it comes to Haiti, things like chronic poverty and societal stress?
Yeah, definitely. And again, thank you, Liz, for this opportunity. And I love how our paths keep crossing. So yeah, Hope for Haiti is a nonprofit organization working in the south of Haiti, and we're actually going into our 35th year. So we focus on poverty alleviation through education, healthcare, clean water, economic development, and also disaster response and recovery. And honestly, I believe that one of the reasons we have been so successful over the decades really is because of our Haitian staff. We have about 150 full-time Haitian staff members, all in Haiti, really driving the work. I am not Haitian. I don't know what's best for Haiti, but my Haitian colleagues do. So part of my role here in the US is helping raise the resources and support so our team, again, can do that critical work in the south of the country. And XR has been a really interesting way for us to raise resources, raise support, raise awareness. For us, it's been really more of a megaphone. How can we share our work with new audiences, with new supporters that we may never have come into contact with, like going to Augmented World Expo? That was a very new audience for us. I don't know when that Venn diagram would have formed, if we hadn't gotten into VR and AR. So just a little backstory. A few years ago, I was in New York City and I went to a place called VR World, and I was just so blown away by how sophisticated and immersive and incredible the tech was behind VR and all these VR experiences. It was primarily games, and it was super fun, and I was blown away. And one game scared me so bad I had to take the headset off because it just felt too real. But I remember telling my colleagues about this experience and saying, why are we not doing this? We're always saying, we can't bring everyone to Haiti. Is there a way to bring Haiti to everyone? Could VR sort of help us bridge that gap? And right around that same time, I actually connected randomly with a VR studio, FXG. They wanted to get into more social impact work. And they said, hey, what if we do something together? And I said, I don't know what that means, but I would love to. And we were able to work together to actually recreate one of our partner schools that's in rural Haiti. We actually work with 24 schools in 24 communities. I gave them blueprints, I gave them photos, I gave them video, and they recreated Haiti in VR. And it's immersive. So when you put on your headset and you're dropped into the Haiti metaverse, you can actually walk into one of our partner schools. It's a 3 classroom block. You can write on the chalkboard. You can pump a water well. Again, that's reflective of one of our program areas. And it's been a new way for us to talk about Haiti, to give people a different perception of Haiti, and really just sort of bring people into the fold and into our family. And getting the experience to go to AWE the last 3 years, to speak about our work, to demo the app, we've gotten great feedback. So for us, this whole XR journey has been really interesting, but also very, very new. We're a nonprofit. We were not in this space before. I had to kind of learn on the ground and learn quickly, like, okay, what does XR even mean? But now I've become much more sorry, I think I'm
an
gonna have to
expert.
stop and
Yeah, I'm going to say expert. And true to your title, I mean, you're really bringing this innovative lens to philanthropy, which is incredible. And I'm going to sort of switch over to Mark for a second. I mean, what Sarah's talking about is the ability to bring an experience to people to really have not just to have empathy about the situation on the ground, like be able to live it, right? So Mark, I know, going back to our meeting, you came to this, I think, from a deeply personal place, but you wanted to find ways to use XR as a therapeutic tool to help patients who are working through mental health issues and challenges like addiction and depression. So can you tell us a little bit more about, what you're doing at Lighthouse and how it fills that need?
Yeah, and actually to step back, even at V Artisans, I mean, what was it, in 2018 we started building an endangered species program that went to the Dubai Aquarium, ran around the world, and like we climbed the mountains and filmed the mountain gorillas, and only 8 people a day can see those mountain gorillas, but one of the neat things was that that program ran for about 2 years at the Dubai Aquarium, and during that time, up to 800 people a day were able to see all of these different endangered species and hear a conservation story. And so Lighthouse was formed to take some of that experience and that we had in building a lot of different productions around the world. There's family members, people I know, that struggle with addiction, and I realized that I'm helping endangered species, but I need to help our own species. Is one way to put it. So what we did is about right after the VR Zoo, we started building, looking at different ways to build something for people in substance use disorder. And we started working with the Veterans Administration, and we've been working with them for about 3 years to basically take one of their leading therapies that's expanding, called transcending self therapy, and we mirror that in a virtual world. And the patients can actually not only get the therapy in person, but they can get it in this virtual world that we call the retreat.
Can you just clarify a little bit what transcending therapy is, and then how that's embodied in what you're trying to do?
Transcending self-therapy there's a area called cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. And so this is a sort of a variation on that. Dr. Rice Weber worked with Aaron Beck and wrote a book with them and things, and so Aaron Beck was the founder of CBT, or one of the founders of that whole approach. And that's where you basically want to take your actions and sort of back them up into, okay, that may have been related to a feeling, that may have been related to a thought, based on a situation, thoughts, feelings, actions. But then, above and beyond that, Dr. Rice Weber is focused on not just the stopping to use the substances, but also helping to envision a better life for yourself. And what the morals are that you want to build, having that vision to what direction do you want to go in, and sort of building that up. And so we're doing that in different ways within the program.
I find it really interesting, by the way, that the Veterans Affairs or Veterans Administration has been a real trendsetter in areas of healthcare and innovation around healthcare. Like the pacemaker, I think, was originated, from a need to serve veterans, for example. So do you find that, that this sort of innovative emerging technology kind of speaks to your partners at VA and then, obviously to the patients themselves?
Yeah, it was surprising maybe that the Veterans Administration is one of the most innovative organizations in the U.S., I think. Ann Bailey, Caitlin Rollins, Dr. Kirsch over there, they have something called VA Immersive, and they are constantly getting people into into headsets, and having immersive days. There was a 3-day immersive summit recently in DC. So it really has been one of the best. It was a great opportunity to actually find Dr. Rice Weber and then find out that that's well supported in the Veterans Administration.
Yeah, indeed. And that gives us great hope and promise for it being scaled up, which I'll get to in a little bit. But I wanted to come back to Sarah and sort of probe a little bit on how XR makes a qualitative difference when you're seeking support for a particular cause. How does this work when you're out in the field doing what you do?
Yeah, well, I think especially on the awareness side, it can help us scale up. Again, back to being able to reach people that we normally wouldn't come across. We're always trying to build up that community of advocates, activists, supporters, donors. I mean, we can't do this work without our partners. So this is, I'd say, one of our pathways, one of our avenues to help us get there. In addition to the VR, we've also gotten into AR. That was another thing I was like, ooh, this AR thing is pretty interesting. And that was by attending AWE. I had heard a little bit about AR. I've seen different experiences. Brands have really embraced this. But being at AWE and actually going through and like getting to do a lot of the experiences and stopping by, the different vendors and sponsors and seeing what they're doing, again, got me thinking, why are we not using this? And I think it's a different sort of facet. Like you have VR, which is phenomenal, I think, for that real immersion and that empathy building and putting someone like the closest they can get to being someone else without actually being that person. But there are some challenges. Not everyone has a headset or has access to a headset. There's things like that. But almost everyone has one of these, and it tends to be about 3 inches from our hand at any given time. So I was able to meet Niantic at the last AWE this past summer, and they actually just had announced a challenge for their developer communities, those who are web AR developers, to build an experience focused on Hope for Haiti and specifically access to healthcare and our healthcare program. And they just announced the winners 2 days ago. So I would encourage everyone to really check out these experiences. They're incredible. We were blown away. So we're really excited about being able to share these winning experiences and give people that way to connect with our work, to connect with our programs. And again, a fun, interactive, engaging way that, again, really was not on our radar. So lots going on. And I think it helps us connect not only with new supporters, but really the younger generation. I know it sounds cliche, but they are the ones who are going to eventually be, the new philanthropists, the new policymakers, the ones really leading the charge. So this is just another way for us to, I'd say, build community and build partnerships.
Yeah, I mean, that's so interesting, because it really is getting to the issue of scale, right? As you point out, there's only so many people you can get into a headset, but everybody's got that phone. And I would imagine that a key to philanthropy is in fact scale. So, I don't know, Mark, in your world, it's a little bit different perhaps because it's a more targeted audience, but is there an analogy there to be had?
Yeah, I mean, for us, excuse me, for us, we are, as far as the retreat goes, we're very headset focused, and part of the reason is because of the effectiveness of that headset to block that square block that we carry around in our hands all the times. It allows people to sort of remove distractions, but that is a challenge, because the headsets can be $500 to $700. And so, that becomes an issue, but it's a little bit easier because we can reuse the headsets, for various patients and things. Yeah, I'm a big believer in some of our other work in WebXR. So we're building a Poe museum right now, over on the Viartisan side, and those type of things where people can, go into it from their PC, their mobile device, from and also in headset, and everybody can be in there together. I think those have great opportunity for sort of starting to scale and introduce people to that idea of spatial computing, or whatever we want to call this metaverse world.
Yeah.
Those terms. Yeah, we haven't gotten into the AR world, but I do love some of the AR applications, because I do think that is a great thing, to have that phone, and be the mixed reality aspect of it is amazing.
It's interesting. A year or two ago, I came across a really terrific individual from the World Health Organization, and they did a pilot program using AR to train healthcare officials on the proper use of PPE, right? As a, obviously all of us were talking about that in the midst of COVID. But what it allowed them to do is to reach populations that may not have great, internet or broadband capabilities, but they could get to them, obviously by satellite, using their phone. So I think there's so many different opportunities to do this kind of outreach, given the technology. I would imagine, Sarah, that's a conversation, even thinking about some of the programmatic sides of what you're doing in Haiti, and how to link up these incredible people that you talked about that are the resource for what you're doing, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I know that's something we want to continue to explore, as we grow in our XR journey, because as you all say, the potential really is limitless. There's so much opportunity out there, and so many things like we haven't even thought of yet that I think could be a real game changer for sure, and have a direct impact on people's lives.
I'm curious, both of you at various moments in this conversation have addressed what I would call some of the challenges, right? How do you scale up the number of people who can get into a headset, the financial aspects of it? Is it a technology that is something that people can access, as well as be accessible for people that have different ways of approaching technology? I'm curious, have you come across obstacles amongst the audiences that you serve to using XR generally, and then obviously XR for social impacts? Are there things that, if I'm a company and I want to use this technology for social impact, for good, what do I have to think about that, people are going to say, I don't know, I can't do this. So I don't know, Mark, if you want to start with that, and then I'll flip it to Sarah as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because we do demos all the time with hospital clinicians and different groups, and people are reticent to put the headset on, and then they put the headset on and they're like, oh no, we definitely need this. So one of the obstacles is that people just haven't been exposed to it, very much. And so they're not ready to incorporate that into their, into their way of doing something. So I'm a firm believer, and Bailey over at the VA calls it heads and headsets. But I'm a firm believer in that idea of we just need to expose more people, to it. I mean, we do have the price and technology, obstacles there. But I do think that the more people start to use it, like in the various ways that Sarah's doing, people will become more comfortable, with it. We worked on something for PwC, Unconscious Bias, that did a big road tour, and they visited 100 cities with headsets and a bunch of various XR exercises. And I think that those type of activities and exposure for people will start removing some of those, at least the obstacle of people being sort of scared of the technology.
Yeah. Sarah, anything to add on that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think this all still feels relatively new. Like, even when I tell my friends what I'm working on, and a lot of my friends work at nonprofits, and I say things like XR, AR, VR, they say, what are you talking about? And we won't get into like explaining this to my family. So I think there is still a learning curve with this, but we're seeing it's just getting bigger and bigger. This is not going away. This is very much the direction that the world is going. It really is in part a digital world now, but it is so fascinating to think about how we can use the digital world to really be an avenue to make an impact in the real world. So I think if you fast forward a few years, I do think the conversations are going to be different. I think you're going to see a lot of this tech, including headsets, in schools. And again, I think the fact that, brands have really embraced this. I mean, so many companies now have like an AR experience that you can do. Like, if I want to see how a couch is going to look in my living room, the other day, Warby Parker has an app where you can try on glasses. I was very skeptical. Does it work? And yes, it did. I was like, oh, wow, that's what those glasses are going to look like on my face. But, how do we create the roadmap where more nonprofits and cause organizations can be using this, and it's accessible to them, because there still is factors like the costs, purchasing headsets, just ROI. You don't necessarily know when you take on a new initiative, something like XR, what are the results going to be? It is still a little bit of a question mark. So I think it's exciting, though. I think I'm very grateful to be part of an organization that is embracing this, because again, I don't see that many nonprofits that are working in VR and AR yet. I do think that's going to change, but I think being kind of almost part of like that initial cohort is just really exciting.
Yeah, it's interesting, Mark. Something that Sarah just said made me think of the old maxim of do good and do well. So she was talking about the nonprofit and philanthropic side of it, but for companies that are thinking about how they should expend their resources, right? And right now it's a tight economy, particularly in the XR field. But are there certain advantages for companies to think about social good, to do good, but also to do well for their own brand and how they're viewed more broadly?
Yeah, I mean, that as far as like sponsorship in this world as it expands, and the different opportunities that are out there, I think that people, and you can go all the way over into the Fortnite and Roblox worlds and things like that. Brands are starting to go into different XR spaces, and hopefully that is still aligned with their you know, their community giving, their community, support areas that they can start to use these technologies more, and work with charities and groups that are using it.
Right. I mean, that's an interesting thing for Hope for Haiti, like maybe go into Roblox and have
Yeah,
a place to call home in there, go to where people are, right?
right.
So
Absolutely.
that's interesting. Or maybe Fortnite is the better example, unless you're getting the parents of folks in Roblox. So there you go. Well, the other thing that we focus a lot on through this Limitless Voices campaign is diversity, and making sure that the XR industry, as it's building, is diverse, that people are bringing different perspectives, different lived experiences to how we create the technology and how we use it. And I'm just curious, like the Veterans Administration represents probably one of the most diverse populations in the world, really. And so, Mark, when you think about who it is you're serving, and the fact that you're probably a better tool for helping them if you've brought in diverse experiences, like how does that translate into what you're trying to accomplish?
Well, there's sort of two areas there. One is the content itself, so we have something called the campfire sessions, and I'm going to record more of those next week. But there we bring in a diverse group of various voices, and they talk about some of the same things that we're going through that day in the sessions. Whatever that topic is, if it's anger, coping with stress, coping with, family issues or something like that, we get a wide variety of people doing that. And then as far as people in the industry, I've always supported that in the people that we brought on and hired and worked with. But also I think that one of the areas that will help that is, getting more programs into the colleges and the community colleges. Metaversity has a great thing, it's a group, Victory XR, and they put out with Meta, put out a bunch of universities that have a lot of XR focus. And so there's a program going on down at Morehouse College. I know, there's a getting that into more. I just heard Dreamscape Immersive. I was talking with the leader of that, and they're in Arizona State, and they're serving 800, 8,000, I think, students in their biology class. But that very fact of all these people that are going through college and hopefully through community colleges are exposed to XR technology will hopefully expand the number of entrepreneurs and the people in the community as well.
Yeah. And sort of the flip side to that, Sarah, is there awareness of people in Haiti and, the populations that you're trying to serve about what you're trying to do to leverage XR to help the organization, and sort of what's their reaction? How are they viewing some of this?
Yeah, that's a good question. I know our CEO had actually brought a headset with him down to Haiti, and our staff was able to explore, the VR school, and it's a school that they work in. So we definitely got some interesting feedback. And I remember a little video of one of my colleagues in Haiti trying it out. And I always love hearing people's experience when I'm like standing next to them and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is so amazing." But just, the question of diversity in general, I mean, not necessarily even related to XR, but this echoes back to what I was saying is the reason we've been successful is because the work is led by our Haitian team. We have a smaller team here in America, focused more on admin, operations, partnerships, fundraising, but really it's our team in Haiti, all Haitian, who tell us what we should be doing, like what do those programs look like? How do we scale them? How are they most effective? Like coming up with the KPIs. Like I really love that it is led by our team in Haiti on the ground. Like they are the ones embedded in the communities, those 24 partner communities. It's personal for them. their friends, their family, their neighbors, their country. If we had a different model, I don't think we'd be as successful as we have been.
That's sort of an interesting lesson, I guess, for how to harness XR for social good, is to make sure that the KPIs, that the inspiration comes directly from the people that you're trying to, serve, quote unquote, but really to harness their energy and their vision through the use of XR. So I think that's a really empowering point of view that all XR companies should think about, right? It's that UX gone big. So yeah. Okay, so here we are. We're coming up towards the end of 2023, headed into 2024. And Sarah, you kind of captured our tagline a little bit earlier, the future is limitless. What do you think XR technology, what's its future? How's it going to continue to play a role in the discussion of social impact, whether it's here or abroad? I don't know, Mark, if you want to tell us a little bit of your visioning for this as you see it going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think in healthcare, I mean, it's pretty much at the beginning. We've got to go through clinical trials. Healthcare is a very slow moving, process at times to get it developed, but we're starting to expand, with our program. And I think to me, in other areas of like social impact and things like that, I look forward to, the expansion of more people meeting in WebXR and virtual social spaces. I'll call out, like, this webinar is like still in a Zoom format, but one of the funnest times that I ever had was being on a talk show it was on the Engage platform. But I think more of those opportunities, because at the end of those opportunities, people hang out and then interact, and they make those connections just like you would at a convention. And I think that has a tremendous opportunity for growing the power of different types of impact messages. Is bringing people together, but and presenting, but also allowing them to communicate and network with each other.
Yeah, that's a great point. And forgive us for going in the sort of analog version of of communication here. But
It's still the most convenient way. But
yeah,
I'm talking with somebody right now that's in the impact investment space.
Yeah.
And we may do a thing, a little test with them.
Yeah.
Just to start saying, let's bring together people in this way, so that instead of it being sort of a one-way communication, we'll be bringing together small groups of 20 people.
Yes.
To discuss things, and they can sort of branch off and walk over to the wall and look at a big, information mural and have discussions around that. So it becomes a different form of communication.
Yeah, it's a very powerful form. We do staff meetings every now and again in immersive worlds. And to have someone, whose voice is right here, as opposed to static coming out of the screen, or that you can turn and engage with somebody and have a private conversation the way you would in real life, is really quite a moment. I think you were saying earlier, Sarah, about how when somebody tries these things on, it's such a kind of mind-altering moment. And I think doing these types of meetings immersively is the same concept. So that's a great.
So that's just one small.
Yeah.
I think that there'll be many different opportunities, but that's one of the little things I'm playing with right now.
I think that's a great thing to play with. Sarah, what's your kind of vision going forward? Where do you want to see this go?
Yeah, I mean, when I think about especially VR, it really seems like a fast track to empathy. I mean, I'm just so fascinated by even the studies that have been done about how VR increases empathy in a way that like text, photo, and video just can't. And at previous jobs, I've done lobbying, like taking part of like lobby days on the Hill for different organizations, different causes. And I just have this vision, you get like 5 minutes with a staffer, and you're really quickly trying to explain like why they should sign this bill, why they should get behind what your organization does. But what if you instead it was like, can I just put this headset on you for 3 minutes and then we'll talk? And I think as a way we can use it, like these different applications to really show, not tell, I think that would be, again, a game changer, especially in the cause space, in the nonprofit space. And even thinking about, environmental conservation, climate change, how we can show, again, show, not tell, what the effects are and why there is such urgency around us collectively acting. I think we can do that, with XR in a way that is a lot harder through a website, through a Zoom call, through a report. It doesn't always have that visceral landing. I mean, what I like about VR is I like to call it sticky. I think it sticks in our brains, just in a different way that other media maybe just doesn't necessarily have the same staying power.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very salient point. We're getting towards the end of our conversation, so I wanted to give each of you an opportunity to sort of say, if I were giving advice to my world, what is the thing? Why should they want to use this for social impact? What's the real like zinger last comment that you have for those that are thinking about it to get them off the sidelines and into the conversation? Mark, do you want to take a stab at that one?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tricky one, but
Yeah.
The thing that we're finding in the healthcare space is that it works. I mean, the data is supporting its use, and also we're finding that it helps with what we call clinical extension. I mean, it basically extends the capacity. It's a new tool for people to use, to have in their kit of how you treat various healthcare issues. But for pain management, it's been shown to reduce your need to have additional anesthesia, which has some downsides to it. In mental health, we found that your focus and your retention, your understanding of the concepts, are better when you're getting it in this virtual reality world. So I think it's one of these things that it does work. It just, it's still in its early stages.
Yeah, that's a good point. A little shameless plug, but XR Association is going to be releasing a survey of about 500 medical professionals, clinicians working with patients. And I think you'll see some of what you're saying echoed in those results. They should be coming out probably at the beginning of the year. So stay tuned. Yeah. And Sarah, what's your nugget? You tell your world why this is important for social impact. Get in it.
Yeah. I guess looking at it through like the nonprofit lens is the landscape of philanthropy and support is changing, and it's changed really fast. I mean, I would say if you look at right before COVID to where we are now, again, that the world has gone so digital, and we are seeing like less in-person events. I mean, just things are different. The way people give is different. There's such a need, to connect with a younger audience. So again, like you said, Liz, meeting people where they are, I think that's a case right there for nonprofits to really consider how XR might help them in this space. Maybe it's not a fit for everyone, but it's a really interesting, immersive, engaging tool that can just help you share your mission in addition to all the other things that you already have. Like, we're not asking people to get rid of like their websites or their annual appeals, but it's just another tool, like, in that metaphorical toolbox for support.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, I want to thank you both. This has been just a fabulous conversation. And I think what we hope to do is inspire others to see this technology for the many capabilities and facets that it offers, no matter what field that you're in. So thank you both. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, thanks, Liz.
Thank you.